Hi everyone, now we are entering the Cockington Green Gardens. Cockington Green Gardens is a park of miniatures situated in Nichols. Here we enter the gardens. Come join us please. Venture into the delightful and fascinating display of meticulously crafted miniature buildings at Cockington Green, located in Canberra's Gold Creek Village. Featuring houses and monuments from more than 30 different countries, from Scotland's Bremer Castle to Peru's Machu Picchu, you'll be captivated by this enchanting world of tiny people and tiny structures. The obvious attention to detail in the constructions and surrounding gardens is remarkable, and the miniature steam train ride is fun for everyone and the world. It can be visited any time of the year to the Cockington Green Gardens, but we prefer to visit in spring. It's a nice day here today. Wonder why it's called Cockington Green Gardens? The name Cockington is thought to derive from Saxon terms meaning either the settlement near the springs or the place of red meadow. Following the Norman conquest, generations of three families were to control the destiny of the twin hamlets of Cockington and Chelston as the Lords of Manor. Originally built in the 16th century, it has few architectural features remaining from then, but was altered and extended several times, particularly in 1673 by Roland Mallock and about 1820 by the Rev. Roger Mallock. Cockington Green is a purpose-built tourist attraction. As the tourism industry in Australia has developed over the years, many places fell into tourism. Tourism was the only thing on Doug and Brenda's minds when they were considering their venture. This was all about attracting tourists. The gardens. The gardens were originally intended solely to complement the miniatures, although over the years they have become a striking attraction in their own right. Overseas visitors often compare them favorably with famous gardens in other countries. Cockington Green Gardens offers its visitors an experience you will not find anywhere else. Venture in this delightful and fascinating display of meticulously crafted miniature buildings set within beautifully landscaped gardens to make your Canberra visit complete. Created by Doug and Brenda Shaw, Cockington Green Gardens is a family-owned and operated attraction, with 4 generations involved in its operation over the past 39 years. Opened to the public in 1979, Cockington Green is one of Canberra's landmark attractions, being a winner of Australian Tourism Award and many local tourism industry awards at this time. The park is constantly growing with the popular addition of the International Display Area, which complements the original English village and its beautifully established gardens. Let's talk about the history. The idea for the multi-award winning Cockington Green was born in 1972. Upon visiting miniature villages while on an extended family holiday in the UK, founders Doug and Brenda Sarah returned to Australia inspired and undertook a feasibility study into developing a village of their own. 18 months later, they invited other family members to participate in the project, and the rest is history. After many years of painstaking and often frustrating work, Cockington Green was opened to the public on 3rd November 1979. Cockington Green is characterized not only by the painstakingly accurate miniatures built to scale by Doug and the family, but also by the care and attention put into the gardens surrounding them. The display lawns, in particular, are spectacular. The display has continually grown from a handful of English model villages in 1979 through to 1998 when the International Display's first stage was unveiled. We will be celebrating 40 years of operation in November 2019. Cockington Green is acknowledged as a wonderful Canberra icon winning industry recognition with a National Tourism Award, being a highlight of all the years of dedication. To this day, the business remains family-owned and operated, incorporating over 4 generations with Doug and Brenda still at the helm. Before we talk about the international display, Now we are going to talk about the original display of Cockington Green Gardens. The original Cockington Green Gardens display wins its way through superb manicured gardens and depicts many of the varied and colorful scenes of Great Britain that Starer family discovered and explored during an extended holiday to England in 1972. Cockington is a quaint English village located in Torquay in the English county of Devon that the family enjoyed and fell in love with during the extended holiday. They subsequently named the Australian Tourism Award-winning business after this delightful and picturesque village. The Peterborough scene is a representation of the street in England where close family relatives of the Sarah family live and where the Sarah family has visited on many occasions over the year. The manor house was built after Doug saw it advertised for sale in the UK magazine. So taken with the look, Doug decided to replicate this beautiful country mansion in painstaking detail, complete with its Queen Anne facade. The main entrance building to Cockington Green Gardens is not a replica of any particular building, but rather an original building with a classic Tudor look. A miniature of the main entrance building is found in the display and provides additional insights into the level of detail incorporated into the models. It is hard not to associate the sports of cricket, golf and soccer with England and Great Britain. There is a village cricket scene which is found in any number of locations throughout the land as well as the obligatory soccer pitch and stadium. The soccer match includes one of the more famous streaking incidents that featured of games before accessing pitches uninvited was made more difficult and certainly more expensive. The Sarah family has a wonderful sense of humor and this has been shared and developed by the family and staff over the past 35 plus years. This humor is evidenced in the soccer scene as noted above. You will see many other figures that will make you laugh as you meander through the display, such as the butcher and the dog, a man reading a newspaper on the toilet, Doctor Who, and the TARDIS, and Star Wars, just to mention a few. The key is to keep a sharp eye out for the subtle humor found in various parts of the display. It's designed to keep you exploring and guessing. The original figures complementing each of the displays were made by Doug's sister Elwyn. However, on her departure from the business, Doug and Brenda's eldest daughter, Sally Ann, took on the role of making the more detailed and charismatic figurines, which are now prominent in the display today. Due to newer materials and evolving techniques, these figurines should be able to endure a more extensive period of the display under extreme Australian weather conditions. Although the buildings in the UK section were constructed by Doug, before the display's opening, Doug spent many hundreds of hours perfecting the construction of the model's building, often experimenting with materials and techniques to ensure the buildings could withstand the varying weather conditions. Doug's knowledge and skills have since been passed down to the younger generations who continue to build on the legacy that has been given to them. Let's find about international display. Cockington Green's international display was established in the late 1990s. This followed consideration of better utilization of the land which previously was home to the small lake around which the miniature steam train circled. There were many months of work involved in first draining the lake and then creating access to the new international display area underneath the miniature steam train line. The process for developing the international display commenced with letters being written to all high commissions and embassies in Canberra. Those who responded were engaged in detailed discussions to negotiate which buildings would best represent their country, a time frame within which to construct, and last but not least, from where the funding for the display would come. Many of the early buildings in the international display were supported via an Australian government regional tourism funding initiative designed to assist in the development of nation's tourism infrastructure. Displays were established either with the full funding support provided by governments of represented countries or in conjunction with the local communities, and in some cases by the local communities themselves. Once the building selection and funding issues had been addressed, construction of the building started. The area around each building's location was landscaped catering to its display needs, and replicating as closely as possible and practically the landscape within which the original building was set. Upon building completion, Cockington Green often held inauguration ceremonies with the display host countries, where many of the dignitaries and people from the communities were invited to celebrate the special occasion. The early days of the establishment of the international display gained momentum through wonderful relationships with people such as former Colombian embassy charge d'affaires Marilu Nichols and her associates along with Marla Mary, a former official of the South African High Commission. There was also the infectious vibrancy of the former Slovak ambassador Dr. Anna and the incredible enthusiasm of Indonesian education and culture attached Dr. Arya, who made possible the historical Borobudur temple display. This building was fully crafted in Indonesia and shipped to Canberra for display. Models from Lithuania and the Philippines have also been constructed off-site and shipped in for display. Cockington Green Gardens continue to work closely with embassies, high commissions, community groups, and governments from around the world to this day on the expansion of the display, often having visiting people of note from these wonderful countries walking around the display, admiring other countries' buildings as well as their own. Thank you.